Ooh, recording now. What's going on? Tuning in live from the kitchen table. But with that being said, Marcus, go ahead, kick us off. Imani, good to see you. Good morning. Happy Saturday. I appreciate y'all. Let's get it.
The few, the proud, it's TGF members on Book Club. What's up, fam? It's good to see y'all. Can y'all hear me okay? It's kind of loud in here. Okay, perfect. All right, smooth. So I was reviewing my notes before we kick this thing off, and I appreciate everybody who's been in the discussion for the entirety of the book. Honestly, took some time and put I like what I like to call sweat equity into their personal development, and I really am mind blown that it took me this long to read this freaking book because I wish I read it so much longer ago than this first time. But everything's for a purpose, and overall, just to keep it short and sweet, starting with chapter 11, our most important commodity. I always tell people all the time, like our most important asset in wealth is our health, but our most important commodity is our time. It's the one thing that we spend every single day that we can't make more of. So in that process, for him to really talk about the golden watch in the fable, and really help our narrator understand the significance of time. It was reminiscent to my life, period, point blank. It's the one thing that I feel like I've always understood we had a limited finite resource of. And I also recognized for a long time that my management of it sucked. Like it was really bad. Let me see if I could pull up what it said at the beginning, right? The quote, right? It goes, well arranged time is the surest mark of a well arranged mind. And the more intentional I got of actually making sure that I make the most of the time that was given to me, the more focused I became on time management. And it's like surreal because the value session I had on Wednesday, I really spoke on prayer, purpose, and preparation. And usually, preparation requires you to put some mental thought and energy into blocking out periods of time in your day to day to put yourself in alignment or accomplish certain goals and tasks. And I feel like people don't recognize until it's too late, right? He spoke to our narrator and was like, "Yo, most people don't even understand what they want, or sometimes when they finally figure it out, it's at the end of the line, and there's nothing that they can do about it." So like I feel like it was definitely a reminder for me to always remain in a key perspective of acceptance, knowing that our time is limited, knowing that our time is structured on a very finite level, and just always making the most of it. And honestly, yo, my life has completely changed and what I care about and how I operate in my day to day when I started fully accepting by applying it into my life that, we're here today and we might be gone tomorrow. It's made me more present. It's made me extremely grateful for the time that the Lord has blessed me with every single day. And I cannot wait to see what else that time provides in our development of our purpose. So I thought it was really cool too, Doug, just a little side note in like reading the chapter that he referenced back to the other key symbols in the fable to help remind you that yes, all these things are important, but none of it matters if you don't have your greatest commodity, which is your time, right? The moment our expiration clock runs out, that's it. Some of my mentors taught me that the most important thing written on a tombstone is not the year you were born, nor is it the date that you died. It is that dash in between. It's like what you did with the time you were given. And that has always inspired me to be as focused, as mindful, as purposeful, as intentional as I've grown today. And y'all, it's crazy. I was like, the amount of stuff that I deal with on a day to day and the more efficient I have gotten over the year. Like, I can't wait because I always thought I could be disciplined. I always knew I was disciplined, but now I'm the most disciplined I've ever been in my life. And it's really been because I value my time, right? I know that the wealthiest people on the planet make decisions based off of their time, not money. I understand that at the end of the day, in order for me to spend most of my time in the way that I want to, I've got to go and do things that allow me to maximize my time. It's helped me make my decisions. It's helped me grow, develop into who I'm called to be. And I'm just grateful, very point blank. So I wanted to spend a little more time speaking on that. There's one more aspect I had highlighted here. Give me 1 second. Let me find it. Okay, so he talked about how, as a lawyer, he had attended many seminars on time management, and he had never heard the philosophy of time mastery that Julian was now sharing with him. Time management was not just something to focus on at the office or discard at closing time. It was a holistic system that could make all areas of my life more balanced and fulfilling, and only if you applied it correctly. He said that I learned that by planning my days and taking the time to ensure that I was balanced in the use of my time, I would not only be far more productive, but I would be far more happier. Um, I think it's frustrating to me when I know or I meet individuals who want more or who are frustrated with their life and they just don't take the time to plan out their time, right? So I'm gonna encourage you guys. I've had some great mentors over the years, help me understand the significance of this, and it's probably one of my favorite chapters to read because it made me reflective over the growth that I've had in it. But there is a gentleman by the name of Rob Deerdeck. Y'all hit me with some ones if you know who he is. Okay, Rob Deerdeck is one of the coldest people on the planet in terms of how he uses his time. If you don't believe me, you need to go listen to his podcast. One, I'm gonna shoot in the podcast into TGS discussion, but there's one specifically where he speaks with a gentleman known as Ed Milet, also a very big influential entrepreneur who is one of the most successful but influential like mentors on the planet. A lot of people pay for his access and his teachings. Anyways, he had Rob Dyrdek on, and I was so confused because we all know him from like ridiculousness and these crazy stunts. But bro, Rob Dyrdek is the most efficient person that I've ever met in terms of how he uses time and how he uses it. It made me completely look at my life in a fully different perspective. I was like, damn, bro, I thought I was intentional. And my guy, like by the second, understands the utilization of it. So it's not just hour to hour or day to day, but this man literally makes decisions based off of every second that he uses. Because again, it is our number one commodity in our life. And I'll repeat it to the day I die. Every day we wake up, we spend more of it. We can't make any more of it at all. And it's the one thing that without it, nothing else matters. So, y'all, as a reminder today, as you run through your Saturday, as you run through the rest of your weekend, as you get into next week, be intentional. Most people don't give a damn. And a lot of people will go to the grave not even caring or understanding the significance of it along with everything that they want to do. As for me and my household, I shall not. You know what I'm saying? I built my house on the rock and I understand my purpose and my focus and my calling. And timing is always the most significant part of that. Okay, cool. Let me shut up about that and keep it going. All right, chapter 12, the ultimate purpose of life. Everything that lives, lives not alone, not for itself. Oh my gosh. Y'all, that's a bar. I'm gonna literally put that in like a tattoo, I think. Like I'm not gonna lie to y'all, either a tat or I'm gonna throw it on like a big like guess like canvas or something in my house one day. But too many people attempt to live their life solely for themselves and their own gain that they fully miss the point. I truly do believe we're all called to serve one another. The way I know this is not just through my faith, but also through science. A lot of people like to separate the two, and I correlate them together. Reason being, right? There's been plenty of studies of this, but I've seen it in an actual study myself. If you separate an atom, or excuse me, a cell from other cells, that one cell will die. It cannot function. But whenever you put that cell with other cells with similar functions and frequencies, it not only amplifies, but it becomes an entirely different thing, right? We know about this in the organization of life. An atom turns into a cell turns into tissue into organisms with other organisms into, well, excuse me, organ systems, and then organisms, period, point blank. When you have organisms correlating with one another, you got a society and a community. And I don't think people recognize that you are literally unable to live life on your own. Like we have psychological and physiological. What do I mean by that? We have mindset triggers and human bodily triggers that function differently when you're isolated versus when you're around other people. And if you recognize, like that one quote was saying, your sole ultimate purpose in life is not just for you, I think you go way further, way longer than most people do because of the truth that happens with that aspect alone of helping each other win. He goes, exactly the ones I've been telling you about all evening: an abundance of mental ability, boundless energy, unlimited creativity, a storehouse of discipline, and a wellspring of peacefulness. It is simply a matter of unlocking these treasures and applying them for some common good for others, not just yourself. Oh, I like that. Is that new? What? The money. Oh, yeah. Let's go. Y'all, hold on. Let me show y'all this real quick. Go ahead, put it on. Oh, we in our bag today. We are in the bag today. Say what's up. This is OG Janie. This is my barber. Been
Another meeting.
keeping me fresh since I was a young Murph in college. But yeah, I'm about to get this haircut done. And essentially I just want to remind everybody, like, it's not about you. And when you think it's about you, you have no shot. You might achieve some things, but you'll fail to recognize your overall purpose. And I truly believe that you'll live beneath what God has called you to do and how you're supposed to do it. You got to make it about other people, and you got to see how to and seek to serve others before seeking to serve yourself. And it's only when you do that that you get exactly where you're trying to go and in the manner you're trying to do it in. But that being said, I appreciate you guys. I wanted to talk about the last chapter. I just don't have much time. All I'm going to say is I'm grateful for the book. I'm grateful for the discussion, and I appreciate everybody for sharing their value and really playing their part into the common good of allowing an ecosystem where people can actually learn, grow, and apply things that, like we're not necessarily taught. And even if we're taught, most people don't have the willingness to just go and learn on their own. And being able to do that as a collective has been really cool. So I appreciate you guys. I'm going to be tuned in listening. I'll pass this thing over to Imani. I know she close this out, but, or are you able, sis? It looks like she's in. I don't think so. Going once, going twice. So, Pat, you got it, bro. I appreciate you.
All right, sure. You guys can hear me? Okay, no?
Yes,
Yes?
sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, cool. All right. Well, I guess I'll just go in order as well. Chapter 11. Let's start. Let's look over this real quick. I think I have two things. What I picked up off most of this. I mean, I've been taught that for the past, 10, 12, 15 years ish, something like that. Same things, a lot of what Mark's talking about, but the time, respecting your time. Definitely, yeah, I've heard a lot of those same things about, time. It's your uh, pr most precious commodity you can't earn back. Let me see. Then I'll just go to the things that I highlighted. Let me see. Oh, procrastination. Oh, yeah. Um, yeah, I marked this one. Let me see. I guess let's keep Don't let others steal your time. I like this. All of this page. I marked this one. Let me see. Yeah, don't let others steal your time. Be wary of time thieves. Um, Oh, this happens a lot in life for me. I don't know, but a lot of people will call you and try and get you to do things that are unaligned with what you're trying to focus on. It's real easy, and it's funny because to me, this is what kind of was one of the biggest things, one of the biggest reasons I moved away from my hometown, from Austin, was and it's not like people do it purposefully, right? Like they're not trying to do it just to, steal your time. And I don't know if it's necessarily they were stealing my time, but basically when it comes down to it, one of the biggest reasons I left Austin was is I know so many people there, and it was constantly stuff. And I know myself and personally, I have a hard time saying no when people ask me to do some stuff, especially if it's fun stuff, and so it's a lot of distractions, and I feel like a lot of the time we get distracted from our goals and what we want in life, right? And so yeah, I moved away, I had that there was something every night, and so I moved to Colorado, where I only know like less than a handful of people. And so now a lot of those distractions are gone. You must be ruthless with your time. Yeah, learn to say no. That's the biggest one that I have a problem with that. So I kind of feel like whenever I have things that I feel like I struggle with, right? I don't tend to just um stop entirely doing those things. And in this case, it's like saying yes. I like to, on the other side of things, I like to put myself in the situation where there's less of it, right? Less distractions instead of trying to, I think that helps your ability. It's like if you're trying to stop smoking cigarettes, right? Then I think it helps to just put yourself in a place where there's less people smoking cigarettes, right? Instead of just like trying to, hey, I'm gonna stiff it out, I'm gonna stick it out and stop smoking, right? It's like I feel like what really helps, and so I did that same thing, right? I put myself in a new environment where there are less distractions, and so that really helps me say no because there's not as many things to say no to. So, anyways, that's a little kind of technique that I tend to use. But anyways, yeah, learn to say no. That's the biggest one. Oh, don't pick up the phone every time it rings. This one's a big one for me, because like anybody who knows me, if I don't pick up my phone, I'm like, it's something big going on, right? And I feel like this is one that's really hard for me personally, but I just yeah, don't pick up the phone every time that it rings. It's real tough for me. I struggle with this one, but I'm always trying to get better, become better. So, that's something I'm gonna try and do. Um, but yeah, let me see. What about procrastination? Yeah, putting off things. Oh, I told that story weeks ago, or yeah, weeks ago. I was talking about that guy, Tim, uh, who in our business 2 or 3 years later, he wasn't any further, 5 years later, any further than it was procrastination. Um, people always waiting for the best time, right? I want the perfect time, the best time, and it never comes, right? It never comes. So, anyways, let me see, maybe, yeah. Oh, killing time. Oh, killing time. Man, yeah, that one was terrible. It's an apt metaphor. It's true. It is human nature to do things that feel good and avoid the things that feel bad. Again, I think I talked about that last week briefly, just talking about doing things that you don't want to do, right? It uh, creates willpower, you know? Um, yeah. So that was good. Let me see. Plenty of things are good in the rest of this book, but oh, laughter. Oh, laughter opens your heart and soothes your soul. I love that line. Um, see, she told me the best. Oh yeah, this was the quote. I like this one. Um, well, there's a couple things on this page, but um, oh, too many people. I like this one too. Too many people are dreaming of some magical rose garden on the horizon rather than enjoying the ones growing in our own backyards. In our backyards, what a tragedy, right? Um, yeah, we tend to go after that next big thing, right? We're always going after that next big thing instead of, dealing with what's our options, what's going on right now in our lives, you know? Um, so let me see. So, yeah, no one should ever take life so seriously that they forget to laugh at themselves. Thought that's a good one. I like that one. Just in general, I don't take life too seriously. I try and enjoy the things, all the things, little things, big or small. Yeah. Yeah. I'll read that in a second. That's lengthy. But this was my favorite part about this page that I marked. The best time to plant a tree was 40 years ago. The second best time is today. You know? I love that. Don't waste even 1 minute of your day. Develop a deathbed mentality. Again, stay focused on your time. Keep it close to you. Um, yeah, those are the big things from 11, 12. Ultimate purpose of life, serving others. I'm sure most of us, if you've been in the network marketing industry, I'm sure we've all heard the saying, the quote dozens of times, but if you help enough people get what they want, then you won't have to worry about yourself. Um, oh, okay, cool. I'll read that afterwards then. So let's see. I marked this one. Oh, I marked this page in chapter 12 because of that story. I love that story about the guy and the husband and wife. They got annoyed at the grandma, right, at his mom, and they separated her, put her at her own table. I thought that was so sad. That broke my heart. But then the moral of it was great. And I so it's like, the daughter was building a table and said, so hey, when you guys get old, then I'll put you at this table over to the side. It kind of cracked me up, but it's just, you know, I'm not like that as a person. I don't feel like that, and so it kind of annoyed me when and I mean it's part of the story, right? But when the mother and father, they put like his parents away at the separate table, kind of annoyed me because I don't like when people are sitting by themselves. You know, I know some people take solace in it and whatnot, but I'm like, hey, like there's a spot over here. You can sit by us. I don't bite. I always say that. I know it's kind of cliche or whatever, but no, I truly don't. Come over. Let's have a conversation. Whatever. But anyways, and so then at the end of it, when Julian says in the story, the parents were not bad people, right? Um, I mean, we all make mistakes, whatnot, but he says they simply needed a spark of awareness to light their candle of compassion. And I think sometimes we just get lost in the daily life of things, and sometimes it's hard to see, what you're doing. Again, I've referenced that so many times. hard to see yourself in the picture when you're inside the frame, you know? So, anyways, I like that about that. Um, Friends keep you humble when you get too self-righteous. Yeah, that's a good one too. Um, which is funny because I feel like good true friends will do that, right? Good true friends will tell you what you need to hear, not what you want to hear, you know? And I feel like so many people, a lot of my good friends, you know, especially like when you're going through tough times, right? They will try and console you through telling you what they think you want to hear, right? I think a lot of the time, like, you know, it's like if you're going through a breakup, right? You know, your friends will be telling you, "Oh man, yeah, you know, to heck with that girl, right? You know, she's terrible, blah blah blah." You know, and it's like it's not really what I want to hear. Just listen to me for a minute. But anyways, um, yeah, they tend to tell you a lot of friends, you know, will tell you what you want to hear. Okay, that was 12. That's good. Um, yeah. Um, the timeless secret of lifelong happiness. I marked a couple pages in this chapter. I'll go over those points. Maybe I just marked one. Um, Embrace the present. Live your children's childhood. Just going over the points at the end real quick. Yeah, practice gratitude. I mean, gratitude, have an attitude of gratitude, right, is always best. It'll keep you happy. It'll give you more things that you're grateful for. Yeah, this page, I marked this page. I guess I only marked one in this last chapter, but let me see. Will is hmm, let me see. I marked um take that. Will this take me a while to learn? Principle itself is extra, but learning how to apply, I think. Oh, no, that's not why I say this. Oh, this one, yeah, this was probably my favorite page in the end because I've talked about this quite a few with people in my life. And it was something I heard a little while back, but he's talking about, he says, I seem to spend most of my days fretting over past events that I have no power to change or worrying about things to come, which never do arrive. That is something for me, y'all. I'll tell y'all, that's my favorite part of the ending wrap up of this book, right? Because I heard a little saying a while back, but this guy said, you know, 90% of our thoughts, 90% of the things that we worry about never even happen, right? I feel like we spend so much of our thoughts and so much of our time just worrying about things, and 99% of them never even happen, you know? And I've tried to move away from that, right? You know, it's like we always go to straightforward to, oh, this, like the bad's gonna happen, right? Oh, what if this happens? What if this happens? What if this happens? You know, and then I feel like most of the time something happens that wasn't even on that list, you know. You might name off like 30 or 40 different outcomes of a situation, like what's gonna happen, right? And then I always feel like it's the 41th 40 30 41st thing 41st thing that happens that was actually happening that you never even listed off. So um, and again, that's one of those things, you know, never take it so seriously that you can't laugh at yourself, you know. Um, Anyways, those were my biggest takeaways. Hopefully, any of that made sense. But I guess now I will pop to Amani since Marcus tried to and you were busy. So your turn.
He did.
He did. That's crazy. I was definitely busy. Thank you for that take. Um, well, we're wrapping up this book, y'all. And I am very happy to have read this book. And I do have a huge perspective shift I'm very grateful for. I'll start with chapter 11. He talking about the deathbed mentality. I really enjoyed that because life is short, and we look up, and next thing you know, we're that feeble old woman dropping peas on the ground, and that it's like these last few chapters really did coincide with one another, and it was almost like this, like time, how precious time is. Um, it reminded me of this musical that I love so much called Hamilton. I love that damn man. I love it. I love the music. And, he, Lin-Manuel Miranda, like, really portrayed this character so well because, he was talking about how Hamilton was just writing, like he was running out of time. And ultimately, when you look at his life, he was running out of time and he did his best, even when people really didn't understand that. And I don't even think a lot of times he understood that himself, like how precious, actually I did, because it starts off with like him and his mom dying, and he didn't have anybody to grow up and have everything, and then to lose it all, his kid, his reputation, and he ends up dying in a duel like a year after his son died. So at the end, one of the last songs was talking about time and how what do you have? What are you doing with your time as it goes by? And what kind of impact do you make on people, the people around you? How do you enjoy your time with your loved ones that you've been, blessed with? And he didn't. It was actually really sad he didn't, because he was so busy, wrapped in his work, trying to fulfill this destiny of his, yet the balance of his life really wasn't there. So he died and his kid died, and you know what? His like legend still lives on, or his legacy, there we go, his legacy still lives on. Time is not renewable. Beware of time thieves. That one is crazy. Like, beware of the time thieves, people who just pop up on you, and they don't have a true, I don't think everybody does it on purpose, but not everybody has a true regard of anybody else's time. They see the time they have for themselves and they choose to put it on you. But if you're in that zone, sometimes you just, like Patrick said, you got to say no. You just got to move on. Never be a prisoner of your past. He says, you will see your life for what it really is, a small blip on the canvas of eternity, and you will come to see clearly who you are and the ultimate purpose of your life. Damn. Yeah, how we are like a little small piece of like this huge puzzle. So why not act out your life exactly the way that you see in your mind? This brought up a lot for me because I started listing off the things that I still held on to that was unnecessary. It's unnecessary to hold on. So that awareness came to me, and I've really been thinking of this ever since we really started this book, just thinking of all the things that maybe I'm still mad about, or I'm still embarrassed about, things that I haven't done, very simple things that, and then also really big things that I'm like, well, why don't I want to do that? Because it's hard, because my mind is telling me that I can't do it, or that the distractions and the vices just come into play, and my mind is not strong enough. But it's really about building your confidence and building the, I guess, the resistance from these things. So let me see. Then he goes into chapter 12, talking about the quality of your life will come down to the quality of your contribution. And well, yeah, like I've I've been in a very, I will say, selfish, toxic place in my younger days. Okay. And I look back and there's a lot of things that I did and a lot of people that I helped. And there's a lot of things that hurt me more than anything. So when I started to be more helpful, intentionally helpful, not because I was kind of put in a corner to do so, more so because I found the light of being able to give that to others, not just for myself, but for them in a, actually more so for both of us than just them. Okay. Like I used to take care of a lot of people and I never knew that I wasn't taking care of myself. And when I finally learned through a therapist nonetheless that I never learned how to take care of myself, I started to shift that and take care of myself. The better I took care of myself, the better I was able to take care of my people. So now it's a balance. And I do my best to teach that balance to people all the time. And when I see the results of it, it just warms my soul. And it's like, okay, let's keep going. Let's see where we can go. He says, cultivate a new perspective on why you are here on earth. Just like you came into this world with nothing, you leave with nothing. Give yourself. Shedding the shackles of the self. And I love this quote because it represents not having mastery or gaining mastery over like one's weaknesses, and because those weaknesses make us slaves to ourselves, a prisoner of our own minds, these vices we want to let go, these behaviors that do not serve us ultimately hurt us and hurt people around us. And it's like a disease. And I think he said that in this book, I think it was like this book or the book before. No, it was this book. Or he said it was a disease and it spreads. And that's exactly what happens when we are slaves. We're not mad. You got to be a master. I want to be a master of these things. So as I'm reading this, I'm like, okay, this. And then I realize like, oh, I got rid of this, and this. Like, this is great. You know, it's just keep at it until using these, it was a affirmation that he said to repeat to yourself every day. In the earlier chapters of the book, I remember there was one that he would say like 30 minutes of a day, and people were like, you know, they can focus less than 5 minutes, let alone 30 minutes. And that is how powerful our thoughts can be. It's a rabbit hole. It's definitely a rabbit hole. I think John said that he went from dreaming about change and in his field, and yet over time he started thinking about just like his mortgage and retirement. And it actually points out how material possessions can truly be harmful when up against our purpose. Like it's material. We don't come into the world with it. It's something that we gain over time. Julian later says that it's not you don't have to give it up. You don't have to give up your law practice. You don't have to give up your toys and your rewards and things like that. It's more about you controlling them versus them controlling you. And if they're controlling you, then your purpose does not become your prime focus. And in this life, your prime focus should be your purpose, living in your purpose, sharing your purpose with everyone around you to give yourself that quality of life more so than being a slave to yourself. It's like you never really get to live. So, Patrick, I'm glad you brought up the feeble old woman story, because when the daughter made them out of blocks, I was floored. She's like, and you'll be in a corner and you'll be in a corner. And they're like, I don't want to be in a quarter. Let's get this old lady out the corner. The mom. And that's so real. Like, get her out of the corner. She's old. She can't take care of herself. She took care of you. Like, preservation is real. Of like your soul. Don't let your soul be taken away from like little annoyances. Like, it's a drop of a fork. It's a slipped meal. She can't help it, but guess what? She could help taking care of your ass. She took care of you, and it's okay to give back. Like, I think that is so powerful to be able to take care of the elderly, because that just like shows a true mindset. And last year I watched my aunt's health deteriorate, and all I could think of was what I could do to help. And my life got shook up a lot, so I wasn't able. I didn't focus. I wasn't focused. And then earlier this year, she passed away, and I knew that had I been more focused, I would have been able to, take care of her better. I also accepted that it wasn't solely my job, because she has all these kids to help, and they weren't doing that. But I bring that up to say how powerful it is to truly give and give time. And in those moments, I was able to talk to her and love her. I know she appreciated it. So, damn. Side note, I don't know if anybody else caught this, but he called inner cities a combat zone. And coming from an inner city, wow, that's real. That's real. If anybody has ever lived in an inner city like Los Angeles, California, in Houston, Dallas, I don't get that vibe from Austin, to be honest, y'all. Sorry. Sorry. But like Chicago, these are places that are like, it is a combat zone. So imagine like being in situations like this, and you feel like you have no control over your mind. I did not gain control over my mind until I left LA, until I left the things that I was so used to, so I could have a broader view. And now I understand, like, damn, it is a combat zone. And if I go back, I'm going to be in it again. And I mean, that's fine. I mean, I'm used to it, but never mind. Anyway, okay, so chapter 13, living in the now is the most important. I feel like that actually, not I feel like, I know it takes away anxiety. When you're living in the now, you don't have that worry of like, what am I going to do next? Oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. It's like this anguish that a person can live with. I've lived with it many times, and sometimes I get really excited about the things that I want to do, that I'm anxious about what's coming next. And Julian starts talking to him about like not making the mistake of believing that when your law practice is better, when you've gained this much money or you've gained this much, then you will be happy. Absolutely not. You look up, your life is gone. You look up and nothing's there for you anymore. And it's like, okay, how can I live in the moment more? How can I savor everything? That's where life truly is. He says, live your children's childhood, and like just the gift of family. And I really took care of myself a lot when I was younger, and my younger siblings. And as I got older, I genuinely wish that my parents were there for me more, even though they both equally got on my nerves. I still love my parents, and their influence has made me who I am. Just imagine if, like, I sometimes imagine them being there more, and us being able to enjoy and not having that worry and the scarcity mindset, like how different things could be. I don't dwell in that, but it's a thought that it's a gift. Having a family is a gift. Having friends is a gift. And it is a wonderful gift. He said people who have at least 3 solid friends are wealthy. And I love that, because I am balling. Like, I'm wealthy as hell. I got money. No, because I appreciate my friends. I appreciate my loved ones, the ones who take the time to love me for who I am and where I'm at, and not judge me and want me to grow and support me in that. It's so powerful, and a lot of days it gives me strength. Um, Julian starts talking about how he lost his daughter, and Like he dove into work to avoid those painful memories of home. And that catapulted him into, having that heart attack in the courtroom because he just was working, working, working. He never lived in the moment. He never got to that point where he really just lost himself completely. I think this gave him like a real deep appreciation for his life and his time, especially the fact that he just went off to join these yogis in the middle of nowhere and learned this and then brought it back to his friend, to John, in order to show John, like, don't go on the same path as me. Grow. Treat your family as a gift. Treat yourself, treat your life as a gift in its purpose and live in that moment. Because that literally life is every day. Like in this conversation and the small breaths we take when we're just walking down the street, just every second and taking that time, which is, oh my gosh, the whole point of him talking about time was that, just like appreciating every second. He says to plan things out, but not to really, just to me, like lose yourself. But I'll leave with the story of Peter and the magic thread. That was such a cool story. How the little boy just would often daydream, and we all know imagination is very powerful. But he did not live in those moments, even those things that he daydreamed. Once he daydreamed about doing something like playing after school, he would get there and then he'd dream about doing the next thing, never truly appreciating everything that was happening then. So when he fell asleep and the old lady gave him the thread and he would like pull the thread and skip his life, he then became an old man whose wife died, his mom died, his kids were out of the house. And he finally realized how much of his time he had wasted. So then when he went back to sleep and he saw the old woman again, and she said, well, what do you think about your gift? He was like, I don't like it. I missed my whole life. And she called him ungrateful, and I cried. I was like, oh my God, that is so funny. Like he was ungrateful as hell, but this is what you wanted and you got it. But she graciously gave him one more wish, and he went back so he can actually live his life every day and appreciate those small moments that seem really minuscule at that moment, but are such like a deep root, like deeply rooted in just community and our whole conscious as like one atom, just split off like Marcus was saying, we just split off and split off. I don't know, mitochondria. I'm just saying random science words at this point. but yeah, I absolutely love that. That he gained that appreciation, and for me, this absolutely helped me gain more appreciation for myself, facing my fears, going through the motions. This book absolutely gave me that. Absolutely gave me that just awareness, just like the kid and the blocks and the parents. So thank you guys for being on this journey with me. I am going to call Sam.
What's up, y'all? I've been living or listening in. I just got into Austin, the city that y'all been talking about. I guess we're all from here, right? That's crazy. Or we are in here at some point. But I'll be honest, I didn't get to finish the book, but y'all's takes, I would love to speak on them because, you know, I mean, Patrick, you brought up the attitude of gratitude. And then Amani just doubled down, talking about her loved ones and friends and family. And I do, that resonated with me too, because, you know, like we all have old friends in our past and our old groups. And I had a lot of self-righteous friends that just didn't want to take self-accountability. And so just be around, a group of collective individuals like yourselves that show up consistently and have read the book and are diving in. Um, it's great because, like Patrick said, we all want people that we could call on when we're in a bad time. But that made me think of like if the people you can call in a bad time, how many people can you call in when you have something great happen in your life? Because we could call certain people and we can say, oh, this and this happened to me and it was great and like this is all I've ever wanted. And, you know, they might not be as happy as you expect them to be for you. So, just to have people like, in this group, you could call and say, hey, this happened to me. And I can't believe it. Like, this is happening. It finally is happening. It worked. And it just we have them be just as happy as for you because, we've all grown in that, emotional intelligence and have checked our egos and pride and our understanding and just aware. It's just it's crazy to see how many people just aren't aware. And that's the first step in anything. In forgiveness, that's the first step right before acceptance. So just being a part of this and it just made me it's poured over into every aspect of my life where I do not conversate with somebody if you are not on the path of growth. If you are just not even aware of it, like I really don't have the time. You have to learn that you have to obviously keep getting hurt or sitting on the nail like the dog story in the store, sitting on the nail long enough to learn your lesson because it's just, you know. So I'm really grateful. I say all that to say that I'm really grateful to have this collective and to learn from each and every one of y'all. So I'm definitely gonna finish this book. I think I was up to chapter 9, I think, when I didn't read. But yes, I understand. This is one of the ones. Just to remember it's our mind, like Patrick said, we have these thousands, tens of thousands of 90, he said 90,000 thoughts that we're just repeating, and it's because of what we're feeding into our mind. So to remember that our mind is the most powerful garden, and I remember Mateo was speaking on it that we grow a flower and weeds just come, and we have to really stand, like Jim Rohn says, stand guard at the door of our mind, at the gate of our mind, to really see like our thoughts change and stop repeating old patterns and old thought patterns. And so this is really like a paradigm shift book, and I really appreciate it, and I really appreciate y'all's takes. So I got in a little late. I don't know if Amber's been able to go. So if Amber or Mikhail, whichever one. Let's see. If you're Amber, let's go. I see you
Hey,
in the I'd love to hear from you.
what's up, guys? I'm not gonna turn on my camera because I don't feel well. Um, so let's go through these notes. Yeah, this was a really, really great book. I'm really grateful for everybody as well, and just like this journey that we're going on together is very sacred, very intimate. Hold on, I lost my notes. Oh, okay. So when it comes to the power of discipline, I really liked that one. The quote that I wrote down was, and that he had like in the end of the chapter was wage war against the weaker thoughts that have crept into the palace of your mind. They will see that they are unwanted and leave like unwelcome visitors. And so I really like the first words he said, wage war, because that's like that's as serious as we have to take it, like when it comes to the power of our mind. And I'm pretty sure he says this in the book, like earlier, maybe it was this chapter. um he had said a restless body is a weak mind. And I've been thinking about that recently, and especially like whenever I had did my fast a couple of weeks ago. It was part of the fast was a silence fast, and it was 24 hours of complete silence without like speaking, talking to anybody. and just being by myself. And part of the reason why I did that fast was also because there was a part of me that needed like to prove to myself that I could do that, that I had like that self-control, because I know that I did. And I felt like there was a part of me that felt like I couldn't, and I didn't identify well with that part. And so I was like, no, like I have self-control over my body. I'm not like what? And so um doing practices like those, like you said, like about courage. Where is it? Like discipline is daily acts of courage. Yes, discipline is built by consistently performing small acts of courage. And so recently the message that has been like theme of my life recently, and like something that I've been talking about in Powerful Creator, is the illusion of ignorance. Like ignorance is an illusion. Like we are connected to the divine. There's nothing that we don't know. And there's nothing that we can't find out. There's nothing that we don't have access to. We are literally created with all that is, like literally. And so over time, like I think it was I think someone said it on this call. I think it was Mateo or something. And he said, like, we were born geniuses, learned idiots. And that's true. I feel like over time, like we get taught, the limiting beliefs, we get taught the mindset of fear, and we like succumb to that. But the work that we're doing is we're remembering who we are, and we're remembering our true nature, and the fact that being disciplined and knowing who you are, like is within us. Having that self-control is self-love. And so when it comes to the illusion of ignorance that I had been talking about and thinking about and related it to this, is like sometimes we get caught up in being like, well, I don't know where to start. I don't know what my purpose is. I don't know who I am. I don't know this. I don't know that. But really we do. But when we allow ourselves to be ignorant, to say like, I don't know, I don't know, I don't know, we don't allow ourselves to be accountable for that. But really, if we practice the discipline of tuning into ourselves every single day and asking ourselves the right questions and telling ourselves that we are connected and that we do know. Literally, this is a practice that I do every morning, like connecting to myself and tuning in and telling myself. It's like these three mantras that I have is, I know who I am, I know where I am, and I know what I want. Because we can't allow ourselves to behave ignorantly, to act like we don't know, to act like we're not connected, to act like we're not who we actually are. And sometimes it's easy to feel that way. There's moments where we feel defeated. There's moments, life has things happen in life where we don't want to act like we know, because it's frustrating, it's inconvenient. Um, but we have to. It's very dangerous to not, like, they systematically institutionalized ignorance. Like there's this whole thing about uh like we don't know certain things, and like at a point in time people got their heads cut off for asking the wrong questions. Like you couldn't ask about God, you couldn't ask questions that were offensive, you couldn't ask because they didn't want to talk about it. They were like, oh no, we just don't know, like we just, it's like, no. We do know. And so that's why we also can't behave or think that ignorance is real, like we just don't know. Anyways, that's what I thought about, reflected on whenever I was thinking about the power of discipline, because it's a discipline to tune in to yourself and actually wake yourself up and actually be like, no, I know I am connected. I know who I am. I know what's going on. And a practical way that I'm speaking about this is like when we wake up and we're overwhelmed and we don't know what to work on first, or we don't know. But really, if we just slow down enough, had the discipline to slow down enough and ask ourselves, what is the most important thing for me to work on today? We know. We know the things that we need to work on. We know what's a priority. We know the stuff we're avoiding because we don't want to do it because it's hard. Like we know. And that's what I got from that chapter. Okay. The second one, respecting your time. I really, really like this a lot. And I really love that Marcus brought up Rob Dyrdek because he does have a podcast. And what I love about that podcast is that it's a complete series. Like he completed it. Like it it's done. He's not doing the podcast anymore. But you can go on to Spotify and look up the podcast and there's over 100 episodes. So it's like a complete body of work. And that's just very satisfying for my mind. Because sometimes when it's like ongoing, I'm like, I get all the info. But anyway, so you can work through it. And yes, like mastering your time, understanding the time is precious and being disciplined and managing your time effectively and like really reflecting and asking yourself like what are you doing? Um let's see. Most people guard money but waste hours. Yes. Yeah, I mean, I feel like everyone had a lot to say about time. I don't really have much to say besides like what we all know that it is really precious. I think the last thing that I'll end on is the secret of happiness. I really, really love this chapter and I really love just like the way it ended because it all really comes full circle. At the end of the day, it really is all about love. There's only two energy, there's two emotions, fear and love, complete opposite sides of the spectrum. And the whole point of all of this is to be happy. The whole point in all of this is to literally live, laugh, love. That's what this all is. Like it's the whole point. The only reason we want to make money is so we can use it, so we can be together, so we can laugh, so we can connect, so we can be happy, so we can have conversations. And I talk about that a lot in Powerful Creator, and it's a really big priority to me. Like whenever I'm connecting with somebody and coaching somebody on that, is like we're connecting to what someone truly, 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 truly wants. Not what they think they want, not what you think you want, not what you were taught you wanted, not what you want to do because no, like truly, like that little kid inside you, like when like your wildest, wildest dream. Because that's the only thing that's gonna make all this worth it. I know me and Sam had a conversation like that. And I don't want to say Sam's business, so I won't. But uh, I feel like, that we have these dreams inside of us that we truly want. And sometimes we push them away because we were taught that they can't happen or it's impractical. But this whole point in life is to experience those things. It's like literally, it's to experience ourselves, to experience our magnificence. And honestly, to wrap it all together, like spiritually, like us allowing ourselves to experience our true selves, to experience our true desires, our true loves, our true dreams. That's what honoring God is. There's no other way. Like we're experiencing ourselves, we're literally experiencing creation. And like when we think we can't do things, we think like, why can't we do it? If we are connected to the power of God, the one and only, there's literally nothing we can't do, especially not be happy. And so to think like, and that's why it always comes back to vibration. Like when you're out of alignment when you feel bad, like, when you are feeling horrible, there is something that you got to do to like connect to raise your vibration, and literally something as simple as slowing down in the moment, like not allowing yourself to rush or to do things, in anger, right, or frustration. Like sometimes we go through life and we got to do stuff. We got to get up, we got to go to work, but having the discipline to tune into yourself, to ease your nervous system, to take care of yourself, to ask yourself what you need so you can do whatever it is that you need to do next in power instead of a set of obligation or fear or just because you have to. Because that's operating out of integrity. And when we plant seeds and we do things out of integrity, it's not going to go well no matter what. Like you might as well not, like I don't know, like to me I really really believe that like I will not leave my apartment or do anything. I want to have a conversation until I am tuned in into like my highest power. And whenever I don't do that and I just get into that autopilot, that's when the chaos happens. That's when stuff just starts to happen. But when you truly allow yourself to tune into what's really going on here, what do I know? You're able to move in integrity and things flow. Things flow in ease. Like recently, and then I'll end on this and I'll think on somebody else, but recently I've been experiencing something that I've been calling in, but recently I really had to step in and step it up when it came to my family's financial integrity. My parents are going through it financially, and they didn't know what was going on because they didn't have any financial literacy, and started taking care of the situation. And what the situation caused me to do is really start to pay attention, having to ask the right questions. There was lawyers involved, there was packets of papers my parents didn't understand, there was just money being spent here and there, and I was like, hold on. Hold on. And I allowed myself to just truly tune into every, before I talked to any lawyer, sent any email, looked up anything, I pause and I tune into that highest version of myself, the version of myself that knows. And I told myself every time, like, Amber, you know this stuff. You can ask any question, you can figure it out. Let's go slow. You don't have to rush. And I was able to really learn, um, create order in my family's financial legacy, to be honest, to create real order, like literally order, like organize, and to understand what was going on while learning and it flowing. Literally, I looked at it, and because of fear, because of lack of financial education, it was just all chaotic. It was all messy. And I knew that this was that God was giving me an opportunity to do some real financial integrity work. Like, no, it does not have to be like this. I don't have to sit here and act like I don't know, because that's why the situation happened in the first place. Like, people didn't know. We weren't taught financial literacy, yes, but we can't keep acting like we don't have the resources anymore. Like, Rich Dad Poor Dad was written in 1995. We have access. And now today with AI, like, there's no excuses to not. And so we have to get real with ourselves about that. And yes, it's hard, and yes, it's time consuming, and yes, you got to put the work in and the sweat equity and learn. But whatever, that's what we got to do. At the end of the day, if we want what we want, we got to go towards it, right? And we can, and going towards it doesn't have to be painful. When I was looking at the situation, I was like, no, like, I'm not about to stress through this. We're going to slow down. And I did. I slowed down my entire life. I haven't been going nowhere. I've been going to work, coming home, because I'm like, this is stressful. There's a lot of money being moved around. There's a lot of conversations happening. And I'm not going to allow myself to move in any of this out of integrity, out of fear, out of chaos, out of rushing. Like, no. And that's why I'm grateful for this book and the space, because that's what we learned out here. Alrighty, I'm done. I'm complete. I'm gonna go ahead and click on Mikkel.
Yeah. Can you guys hear me? Slide back to Zoom. Ow. What up, though? Hey, everybody been snapping today. It is actually annoying me that I can hear my computer downstairs. Can you guys hear my computer downstairs? I am echoing downstairs. So hold that thought. What up? Hold on. All right. Now we're good. Now we're not echoing anymore. What's up, my people? Hey, everybody had amazing takes today. There's some transparency and some vulnerability on the call today. I appreciate y'all for the vibes. My house is messy. I've been moving and grooving, so my apologies on my camera being off. But no, to hear everybody and like how they interpreted the end of this book, it's honestly been amazing, truly. Just because it hit everybody in different ways. And different chapters spoke to everybody. It's amazing, man. I'm truly grateful for what we do here, how we're doing it. Definitely that season of understanding, that season of transition, and that season of implementation and integration, as the book puts it. So it's dope. I'm excited. Real quick to just go through my notes. First thing that I wrote down were just these rituals of discipline, time mastery, service, and system. Um, so I wrote down a couple quotes. One that stuck out to me was I heard Patrick say willpower. Willpower is the essential virtue of a fully actualized life. It is real life, and you step into it every single time. That's dope, no lie. And then he also talked about discipline. Discipline is built by consistently acting in a way that strengthens your will, even when you don't feel like it. That is also real life. You will continuously walk into miracles if you just actually discipline yourself to walk consistently in faith. I'm living in an actualized miracle today, going to drop stuff off at a crib that last Saturday. I literally remember saying on the book club call, like, yo, I don't know where we're about to move, and I don't know what God's about to do. And he's doing something crazy. We just moving right on up in here. It's wild. So I'm excited to move my stuff today. It's crazy that we're moving our stuff today, but hella grateful that we're moving our stuff today. And honestly, just the way that everything has been happening is wild, because in the process, I've just done nothing but stayed calm, cool, and collected, and just been vibing out, making sure that I stay in service, doing a little bit more than the extra and what's expected of me as well when I show up to different spaces for different people. And yeah, it's literally just paying off in my everyday life. And it's actually amazing, y'all. And I be like living through these miracles often. And people be trying to get like, how? And this is how, exactly what we've read today. It's time management, it's being of service and making sure to continuously stay of service. And it's also just being disciplined to live in faith, disciplined to get done with the things you got to get done with, to lock in when you need to lock in. It's lit. And every time that you master yourself, you build this inner power. And I can tell you right now, from living through the miracle that I've lived through this past week, to even 8 months ago, living through a miracle that I lived through in January, it's a completely different level of faith. And it was a completely different level of peace and sustainability that I had in the process of the miracle working. Because in that process, it's extremely uncomfortable. In that transition season, it's honestly one of the most uncomfortable that you'll ever be. But also in that, if you can remain calm, I'm a true believer of the saying, how you wait determines how long you wait. But in that, from there, another quote was, the purpose of life is a life of purpose. And that was a bar, real life. That was a bar, because most people don't realize it. I heard a lot of people talk about it. A lot of people go through life literally thinking about what they can do for themselves, what their life looks like, what their results look like. I did it for a long time. I was that guy focused on my career, focused on building the level of success, and then looked up and my grandmother died, one after the other. And then looked up, cousins of mine had passed. Looked up, I got nieces and nephews. I don't even know their names. I don't know when their birthdays are. And I'm like, yo, I've been out of tune, because this is not who I am, period. I'm extremely present. It's what people know me for, but I haven't been present in some of the areas that actually mean the most to me, period. Like Marcus talked about the other week, like if you say family is a priority, but like you don't know your nieces and nephews' names, no, it's not. You just want it to be. And so in that, I just had to get really real with myself. I even had some apologies and conversations with my grandmother's only living brother, my Uncle Melvin, or Uncle Tommy is what we call him. But him, my Aunt Judy, as well as my mother. And I just came to them and I was like, yo, I'm so sorry that I literally wasted so much time focused on the wrong shit. And I could have been getting to know y'all. I could have had my kids getting to know y'all, the whole nine. I know that we've had our differences over the years, but ultimately, this is what matters. This is our history. This is our heritage. This is our bloodline. Like, why would I not spend that time getting to know my people? So And I just didn't know what I didn't know. And I also didn't realize what I didn't know about time, that it is literally finite. So, getting into some of the meat and potatoes, y'all know I like to, especially when we do these recap calls, I kind of like to go in between the lines. So, first, in between the line, when it comes to discipline, most people think discipline is about restriction, about doing things that you cannot do. When essentially, the vibe that I caught from this book was that discipline is more so for energy conservation. A lot of people, they take, what's his name? Julian, they take his messages like, be tougher on yourself, when the subtle point is actually that discipline frees mental bandwidth. When you become more disciplined and you guard your time, what happens is you have more space to become creative. Every time that you consistently choose actions in alignment, you remove what I like to call like decision fatigue, literally getting tired of making decisions. You remove that fatigue because you actually already know what you're doing because you're being disciplined. It's kind of crazy, but it's real life. Think about how much mental power it takes to debate right versus wrong, or what you want to do versus what you don't want to do, or what you want to eat versus what you don't want to eat in the moment. It takes a lot of mental power. Whereas if you were disciplined, you could just know. So discipline just literally equals reducing friction so your energy can flow into creation and not correction. Period. In between the line, number 2, time mastery. And this is something that honestly I've been working on in my life heavy recently, is discipline and time mastery. But it's a spiritual practice and not just productivity. Most people think wake up early, plan your day, hustle. But as this book had just reframed everything to time being like a sacred currency, wasting time isn't just inefficient, it's literally disrespect to life itself. It's disrespect to the gift of life itself when you are killing time, when you are wasting time, doing things that, one, you just know you shouldn't, but also, two, just doing things that aren't actually fulfilling your life's purpose in finding that purpose. So, in that, like, when you're being disciplined about your time, it's literally not about checking boxes, it's about actually honoring yourself and your life. And I think that that for me was a profound switch in my paradigm to how I think about and internalize time. I'm very present in the moment. I like to get all that I can done in the moment. I like to be as present as I can in the moment. But ultimately, because I be so focused on the moment, I end up also doing a lot of correction when it comes to my time management because I'm so focused in the moment. So I just literally need to find that balance between like being disciplined and being present. So that's one thing for me. But when it comes to service, service is what I wrote. Service is the safeguard against ego spirituality. This was huge, okay? Because the way in which that Julian came back to teach all these lessons to his boy who had no idea about any of these lessons is damn near the opposite as it goes when somebody comes from a personal development event and they come back and they try and put their friends on everything that they learned. When they're trying to put their family on everything that they heard the speaker talk about. When we're trying to like communicate what happens on book club to our friends and family that aren't on book club. It's crazy. And I really feel like the mental shift, the paradigm shift of just being in service is a safeguard against getting into that ego spirituality where that ego is not your amigo and it actually rubs people the wrong way. There's a hidden danger inside of personal development, and that is becoming obsessed with your own growth. I see people go down this road, honestly, a lot. And it's kind of wild because I've seen it happen over and over and over and over and over and over and over again in my career. And I'd be literally trying to figure out, like, how can I help people not get stuck in this loop of like, let me go down my own personal developments, just rabbit hole. Let me go make sure I'm all the way together before I can get anybody else together. Let me go make sure that I'm the best person that I can be before I go start trying to lead people, because you literally missed the mark. The mark is in the development process of you and the person that you're trying to develop, in the process of the development. That's where the magic happens. That's where you learn the most. And I think that the monks did a great job anchoring all of these rituals in service rather than in selfishness. Like they're like, hey, we're going to teach you so that you can go teach everybody that you know. One thing that's a major, major key in TGF, teach how to teach. You can go to the beach. Literally, you can get the paradise and fulfillment that you are seeking if you teach people how to teach people, because you'll essentially be in service, teaching people how to be of service. It's real life, because when you get obsessed with your own growth, what happens is you stop seeking to hear the problems that other people have for the solutions that you already hold. And so in that, you just give them your problems and solutions and hope for the best, versus listening to them, hearing their problems, and crafting specific and custom solutions. And that's influence at the end of the day, literally. So, true enlightenment, another thing I wrote in there, true enlightenment is impossible if it terminates on the self. Meaning this, you cannot get to extreme fulfillment if you continuously do not fill your cup. You continuously cannot fill your cup if you don't know what fills it. You also cannot fill your cup if what you're doing to fill your cup isn't serving others. Eventually you will feel half filled. So that's like the other side of service. Serving others is not charity. It is literally, I love how this put this, because I also put this sentence. I was like, what is it trying to say here? It says serving others isn't charity. It's the circuit breaker that ensures your growth does not collapse inward toward pride. And it's real life. Now, last base, integration over isolation. One, obviously, as he talked about with the wires, them being weaved together makes a stronger wire. Each ritual by itself is powerful, literally. You focus on discipline in your life, you will grow to the next level. You focus on self-mastery in your life, you will grow to the next level. You focus on time management, you'll grow to the next level. You focus on service, you'll hit a next level. But in that, when you work all of them in together into something that creates something that's unique, that's where magic is, period. So in that, as an example, discipline keeps you on track with your purpose. Purpose gives meaning to how you spend time. Serving others fuels your discipline with joy instead of resentment. What I loved about this book is it literally just broke down a systematic way of thinking by giving everybody a parable and stories and an experience in order to have and change somebody's paradigm. And essentially, we as leaders are literally tasked with that. Using our stories, our testimonies, our experiences to go and help somebody change their entire paradigm. And this book has done an amazing job at doing exactly that, period. This book's legacy that we've all talked about continues to literally move on because it was built page by page by page in the book. And it just goes to show that legacy is not something that it's not something like a goal or like big achievements. It's literally the micro moments and not the milestones that actually build up your legacy. It's the small conversations that end up having people at your funeral talk about how you were and who you were. It's not the big accomplishments from when you were on stage, period. It's not the things that you buy, it's the time that you spend, period. Like the book kind of teaches, like, it's like essentially your character compounds just like interest does, way more than the achievements and the things that you do. So literally that character, that becomes your ultimate legacy. And that's the only thing that you leave an imprint with upon this earth. So in that, I feel like this book did a great job at actually like giving an example and sharing with somebody an experience of how to actually shift your legacy going forward, how to live so that you leave a legacy going forward and you're not just forgotten on this earth as the blimp that you are. Because at the end of the day, you can actually make a huge impact by focusing your energy on these small things and small little moments to literally multiply them and to have them echo in the freaking realm of time. It's lit. I feel like I'm speaking in Marvel right now. But in that, when it comes down to it, real quick question I have for everybody. If time is sacred, where are you unknowingly treating it as disposable? Just something to
Run that
chew
by
on.
back.
If time is sacred, where are you unknowingly treating it as disposable? Unknowingly or knowingly? Like, where are you just disposing of your time where you know for damn well you shouldn't be? And if you can think about it and put it on a paper, like Imani is right now, I was about to say my man Imani is, but my OG, my sis Imani is right now. If you can put it on paper, you can focus on it and you can actually start to kind of take a little bit more of that time back. And from there, the last question that I had is just like a thinker that I wanted everybody to process is how do you balance personal growth with service? And have you ever noticed your growth tipping into ego? And if so, check it, because that ain't what we're here for. You know what I'm saying? We're here to get better and do better simultaneously. So in that process, I'm excited. I'm grateful. This book was phenomenal. I ain't gonna lie, I missed it last week and my head has been in a jumble. So y'all remind me real quick, what are we reading next week? I feel like it's Crazy Faith, but I don't know if it is or not. Boom,
It is,
okay.
in fact,
Marcus said
Crazy Faith.
OMG. I know, Marcus. I'm sorry, bro. My life's been everywhere. We probably have it in the note. Have I checked the note? No, I have not. It's been a time. You know what I'm
You
saying? We
voted for
here.
it last week, just to remind you.
I remember I did vote for it, but I tuned out right after the vote. Like I don't know what was said after that. There's a lot going on. It's crazy. Actually, we left on that call and went and viewed the place that we're moving into today, which is nuts. It's lit, y'all. But in that though, I'm excited. Crazy Faith is actually one of them, y'all, for real. I hope I still have my copy upstairs because I feel like I gave it away to somebody. It is not in the digital library from what I remember. It might be in digital library number 2. Small chance that it's in there. If it's in there, awesome. If it's not in there, awesome. Go get that thing at your nearest Walmart, Target, Barnes and Noble, Half Price Books. It's just about everywhere from what I've seen. It's by Pastor Michael Todd. It's definitely one of them books that honestly it's different. It's kind of like how this one was. Like it just wasn't what you expected it to be. That's exactly how Crazy Faith is as well, man. It's honestly amazing. And it's more so about spirituality than it is religion, which is one reason why I really like it. Truly. Breaks down what faith is and how faith works. I think just about, well, we've read some dope books this year, but it's definitely like top 5. Okay, for real, especially in terms of like the type of road that we've all been going down together as well. Crazy Faith is one of them. So excited to read it. It was one of our first few books on book club together, actually. And it was a time. Like it was a time. I'm talking many a tears were shared on those book club calls. It's crazy. But grateful and excited, y'all, to go down this journey with y'all. Invite a friend. You know what I'm saying? We'll vibe out. I'm gonna be inviting some people to next week's book club as well. I have some people in my life that have been wanting to read that book. So we'll see if they tune in, if they can make it with the best of us. But with that, I love y'all and I appreciate you guys for doing this every single Saturday with us, man. It's not a game. I truly, truly, truly appreciate everybody who just shows up to chop it up about it, you know, because obviously me and Mark is going to be here regardless. Amber was on here first thing this morning. Pat was on here. Like, I appreciate y'all. Imani, Sam, Marcus, I appreciate y'all for real because you don't have to get up and do this every Saturday. You know, nobody does at the end of the day, but we literally choose growth and we choose to keep this hour open every single Saturday of our lives. That's dope. I'm not going to lie to you. It just goes to show that not only are we committed to growth, but we're also committed to each other. And there's been a realm of trust that's been built here. That is amazing. And that right there speaks for itself and just how dope everybody is on this call. So give yourself a pat on the back today. Have some fun, eat some good food. You know what I'm saying? Drink a good drink, vibe out, get you some orange juice. You know what I'm saying? Let's go. But in that, I love y'all. I appreciate y'all. God bless. I got to go inside to end the Zoom. Just realized it's recording on my computer. So for all of those who are catching the recording and don't tune in live, you should be here.
Right? Hi, recording. Welcome to the party.
Hey, I love you guys, man. Y'all have a good night.
Bye.